On a Friday evening in April 2003, Alan, after getting home from get off work, packing his travel bag in a hurry. Food, tools, and drinking water are essential for travel. He grabbed a few at random and stuffed them into his bag. Sister left him a message. I hope he calls his mom back. Alan left in a hurry. The mind is not on it at all. I even forgot my phone. Through the hustle and bustle of the city, a few hours later, he was in the suburbs. All kinds of excitement along the way. After arriving at the campsite, I slept in the car for the night. Saturday morning, rising sun, berth, clear sky. Alan on a dirt bike, running freely on the Gobi Desert. He loves extreme sports. 1. Enjoy being close to nature. The destination of the execution is Blue John Falls. The travel guide says it will take 4.5 hours to arrive. He wanted to push the envelope. Due to riding too fast, one accidentally fell into a big somersault. Alan lay on the ground and took out the camera. Here comes a selfie. And he raced up to the edge. Locked the bike to the deadwood. He climbed a hill, panting and looking around. A few cotton candy floats in the blue sky. The golden eye is majestic. In the midst of this pure beauty, the soul seems to have been cleansed. After walking for a few minutes, Alan ran into 2 lost girls. He is familiar with this generation, therefore, and offered to guide the 2 girls. He is sunny and cheerful, conversational humor. The 2 girls hesitated and agreed. Aron says he knows a cool way. I want to take them for fun, but the road is a bit steep and a bit crowded. The girls said no problem at all, but as soon as the picture changed, the 2 regretted. It's a bit steep. The girl expressed concern. What if the rock above moves? Alan, that everything is moving all the time. Then he let go and slipped deep into the crack until it disappears. Here comes 2 girls, screaming. Call out his name. There's something else down there, hidden in a blue underground abyss. And Aron answers them with a song. The 2 couldn't help laughing out loud. With the encouragement of Alan, the 2 girls got up the courage to jump. The blue abyss is mysterious and alluring. The splashed water blooms. Then they kept climbing up and jumping down. Have a great time. They took a group photo together before partying. Girls think he's cute. Invite him to the party tomorrow night. He also told Alan the specific address. Alan cheers, said goodbye to them. The back that watched him leave was still unforgettable. They both like him. And Alan continues on his way. Walk through the continuous rock crevices when you come to a deep ditch. He grabbed a rock to borrow strength. As a result, the rock rolled down. He also fell into the canyon, but with a scream. It took Alan a long time to come back to his senses. He found his right hand, stuck between rocks and cliffs from time to time. Overhead is an acre of tranquil blue. He tried to pull it out, but he couldn't get it out. He bumped and carried, trying with all my strength to move the stone away. But after tossing for a long time, the stone still doesn't move. With a dry mouth, he drank half a bottle of water in one go. Alan, hysterically shouting the names of 2 girls. But in a place like this, it's completely wrong. The desert is vast, sparsely populated, and he's in a crevice in the ground. He's like a speck of dust hidden in a crack in the earth, small and hidden. After calming down, Alan began to think of a self-help plan. Tap the items in the bag. He started using the knife he carried with him, trying to chisel away the support of the rock. But that rock is hard. It doesn't seem to move for a long time. Alan's hands are sore. I was not careful. The knife also fell to the ground. It's definitely out of reach with your hands. He thought about it, and he held a stick between his feet. Boss Jin. My foot was about to cramp, so I hooked the knife. After getting the knife, Alan couldn't help laughing. To prevent the knife from being released, he tied it around his waist with a string. Keep grinding little by little. It's 12 noon on Sunday. Alan has expended a lot of energy, but the stone still shows no signs of loosening. That's when he realized the importance of water. I don't dare to drink water. After countless attempts, he finally hooked the rock above with a climbing rope. The rope held his body. Exhausted, he fell asleep. When you wake up, keep looking for stones. A crow flies overhead. Alan wants to say hi to him, and he just flies away. Then the sun shines through the cracks. Time slowly moved to Alan's side. He reached out to touch the sun. Feel the warmth and hope he brings, like when he was a kid sitting on the top of a mountain with his dad. Watch the sunrise. By 3 p.m., Alan recorded a video with his camera, introduced the situation of his own distress. And parents' names? He's been stuck here for 24 hours. Because the blood cannot circulate, he probably won't be able to keep his arm. Now he is running out of food and water. He thought he was going to die. He hopes that the person who discovered the camera can help inform his parents. Just then, a pile of dust fell. Alan thought someone was passing by. Instant survival desires aroused. He screamed hysterically. And there was no response. Look at the call for help in the camera. Alan started the drum over and over again. Encourage yourself not to give up eating dry food in small bites at night. Thinking in my head, cold beer at a party. There's not much water left. He has to plan the drinking bit by bit. That's all. Alan spent a half-awake night. Monday, he made a pulley out of climbing rope. Trying to use your own weight, pry that damn rock. But after tossing for a long time, it is still in vain. It was in his head, a variety of sweet and delicious juices and drinks. Although the lips are beginning to peel, Alan can only take a small sip of water to moisten his throat. He started collecting urine for emergencies. Then he slowly realized his hands support the weight of the stone. The more he went on like this, the hand will get stuck and die. So he has to be prepared to save himself with a broken arm. It's like a gecko with the tail. He put a tourniquet on, but the knife has been stewed until it can't cut the skin. He laughs at himself. Not by cheap counterfeit products. Alan remembered the family together. Mom and Dad chatting. My sister plays the piano leisurely, holding a camera and recording beautiful moments. Dazed. He remembered being reckless with his friends again. Carnival Day. Reminds me of the sweet romantic moment with my girlfriend. Suddenly, the spirit who was born and bred brought him back to reality. And then the roof is pushed into the big jade dragon, flooding down. It didn't take long to fill the deep ditch, drown to his neck. Just as he was about to drown, the stone finally loosened due to the benefits of water, and Alan was finally able to get out of the way and climb up the canyon. And he drove all the way home. Maybe after he knocked on the door, the girl turned a blind eye to him. It turned out that all this was his hallucination. Now he was delirious. Tuesday, the rising sun makes this canyon eerie and spectacular. After a night's rest, Aron's mental state has recovered. He's looking at the camera. Talking to myself plays a double read. He regretted it. I didn't answer my mom's call on Friday night. If Mom knew where he went, he wouldn't have come to this. No one knows his whereabouts now. What a tragedy, and he drank the last of it. If you wait any longer, there will only be a dead end. Alan slammed it into his arm with a knife. A stream of dark red blood came out. He was brewing for a long time, but in the end, he still couldn't do it. By this time Wednesday, Aron had been trapped for 4.5 days. All water and food are exhausted. In desperation, he had to start drinking his own urine, although the taste is really unbearable. But there is no other way to survive. In the end, his rope is getting blurry. The hallucinations are getting worse. Flies smell decay, buzzing all over him. He remembered the day he broke up with his girlfriend, reaching out to try to keep him. He also saw his relatives and friends sitting in front of him, looking at him with a serious expression. Alan could no longer be with his sister. Ensemble piano didn't get a chance to attend his wedding. His life is like a battery. There's only one last tiny square left, and that damn stone, as if destined to wait for him. Since he was a rock. I've been waiting for him. Wait for him to come here. Aron's whole life seemed to be made for him. Die for him. His will was completely destroyed. He carved the mystery of the tomb on the wall. He lay quietly on the ground, waiting to die. The ants began to gnaw at him. Suddenly, a golden light appeared before his eyes. A little boy is sitting on the sofa. Alan is playing happily with him. He seemed to see his unfinished life. Get married, enjoy family fun. There were tears in his eyes. The fighting spirit for survival is ignited. Again, his life cannot end like this. The stone that trapped him for 127 hours, the battlefield of his life. He knew that to survive, there is only one way to save yourself, with a crisp, broken body. He broke his own inertia with force. Here we go. He wants to cut the flesh and tendons, one knife at a time. Intense pain concentrating on bone eating. The pain made him open his mouth and yell, but he gritted his teeth and didn't give up. Sweat mixed with blood keeps flowing out, until the end. He broke free of his body and arms with great force, finally managed to escape. He stood there for a long time before slowly regaining consciousness. After a simple bandage of the wound, Alan took out his camera. He photographed the bloody battlefield where his strong man's wrist was broken. He glanced up at the place. I said thank you softly, then turned around and left. After coming out of the crack, looking at the long-lost warm and dazzling sun, Aron cheered, as if I had never experienced it. This catastrophe, he saw a gutter dug at the bottom of the valley. He's in desperate need of fresh water. Fortunately, there are locks left by climbers on the cliffs. He slowly descended to the bottom, fell into a pool, enjoyed the most generous gifts of nature. So he fills his glass and he goes on. After a long journey, I gradually lose my strength, struggling to get up after falling. Finally, he vaguely saw a family of 3 ahead. This time he wasn't dreaming or hallucinating. He screamed for help. The man ahead found Alan. Rescue organizations were quickly contacted. The moment the rescue helicopter came, Alan knew he had succeeded, and he was treated, and Alan was rehabilitated. 3 years later, He met his wife, Jessica, and a lovely son. He still loves sports, love nature, but he leaves the chain every time. Explain your whereabouts. 127 Hours is Danny Boyle's works released in 2010. The movie is based on a true story. True to American mountaineering enthusiasts, Aron Ralston was trapped for 5 days and 5 nights. The story of the final severed arm to save itself. Lots of scenes in the movie. It's all real mental activity recorded by the protagonist. Maybe it's what it says. Man can only experience life and death to understand what is most precious in life. In fact, I myself am concerned about mountain and extreme sports are also very yearning. But I know very well. Now, I'm just a gong who loves the dragon. If you really let me challenge these wild nature, I admit I don't have the courage. Of course I didn't lack the courage in the first place, at least when young. Who didn't have that idea when they were young? To conquer the wild and the unknown, under the rush of adrenaline. Feel the blood boil. Feel the spray of life. Feel the beating of your heart. I don't know when it started. I slowly became calm. Perhaps I saw the bent bodies of my parents. Maybe after getting to know him. Maybe after he was born. Maybe people who care will become timid. Or maybe I just lost my courage. One day I suddenly woke up. Find yourself getting old. Therefore, I can only do those young things in my mind. The dreams of time are those distant dreams, dreaming those colorful dreams. But luckily I have a movie for company. So that's it for today. If you like it, don't forget to follow the forwarding. See you next time.